Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here.
How's everybody doing? Happy Monday.
Let's
Good
start.
morning.
Good
Yes.
morning, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, let's start with something good or a win this weekend or a shout out or whatever you want.
Could be anything.
Can't be anything. Who's got something good to share? Dale, come on. I know you do. Oh, Maria does.
Morning. Yes, good morning. How are you?
Good.
Great. Well, I want to share that this weekend I received a call from a client. He saw me on social media and we had a buyer consultation, and now we have a buyer agency sign it. So I'm so excited because this weekend was a win.
I love that. I hope everybody on here heard that. Maria was on what, Maria? Social media.
Yes.
That's amazing. Did you do a video? How did he see you?
I asked them, but they didn't specify which one. But
Okay.
I think they saw me on TikTok.
That's amazing. Great job.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Who else has got something they'd like to share? Come on. It was a beautiful weekend. Somebody's got something good.
Yesterday was my dog's 11th birthday.
Woo!
Happy birthday. Jen, I can't believe you have an 11-year-old. You look like you're like 19.
She was trying to make it something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday to your daughter. Okay, one more before we dive in.
My little sister got married on Saturday.
Yay, Caroline, I love that. Congratulations. Carlin is also going to be starting our KWYP group here in Valentine. And so please be here after the team meeting tomorrow. She's actually going to have a meeting to go over all of that. If you're 40 or under, or you feel like 40, it's okay. Show up. Not you, Chip.
Always something.
All right, let's jump in.
All right, so last week, I don't know if any of you guys follow anything from RIS Media or Riz Media, some people say. They had a big, what they call a Power Broker Summit last week in DC. And this is like CEO level power broker stuff. And one of the things that came out of it from these leaders of these brokerage brands is that when a market shifts, the number one thing that brokerages can do to support agents is to educate everybody on the shifting market. So it's all about education, but it didn't stop there, because that education piece is important, because we then as agents have to go out and educate consumers. So how long have we been in a seller's market?
Does anybody know how long? Shout out some time frames that you think.
7 or 8 years.
2015.
2015, okay. Any other? Dale, what did you say?
7 or 8 years at least.
7 or 8 years, okay. So we got 10
Definitely,
years, 7 years,
2013.
2013,
All right, 2014.
okay.
Rob, this isn't Price is Right. Beat it by a year. So the reality for our market here in Charlotte, it's been over 10 years. Nationally, it's been almost 10 years. So I want everybody to think about that, because there are a handful of us on this call who have been in this industry longer than 10 years, but there's a lot of us who haven't been. So if you think about it, for a big majority of agents in the industry, the only market they've ever worked is a seller's market. So what does it look like to move into a balanced market and then eventually into a buyer's market? And I want you to think about a pendulum for a second, kind of swinging back and forth. And what happens is, on one side, we could have a seller's market. On the opposite side, we could have the buyer's market. So here's why this is important visual. you can kind of lag over here a little bit and keep gaining momentum and rising on this side, same as on this side. But when the pendulum comes down to swing to the other side, where is it moving the fastest? Typically right at the bottom, right in the middle. And if I bring that analogy back into a shifting market, a balanced market is at the bottom in the middle. So here's the thing, guys, we want to spot trends that tell us we're moving from one market to another. And there's some indicators that are maybe starting to show up in our local market that would tell us we might be heading to a balanced market. Here's the thing about a balanced market, we're there for such a short period of time, we typically don't know it until we're past it.
Yeah, so Chip, let's talk a little bit about what a balanced market looks like before we show them what the numbers are.
It's almost, if you think about balanced market, it's like balance between supply and demand. Things have kind of equaled out, right? We are bringing as much inventory onto the market as there's demand for. So in that case, that's really the quickest definition of it. If we look at it from time, days on market, we're talking typically right around 6 months of inventory.
Yeah, great, thank you. I just
Yeah.
know that there's some people, like you said, that have never known a balanced market. So what is a balanced market?
So that's the easiest, quickest definition of a balanced market. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna share a report. This is a report that's really easy to get to actually in MLS. And I'll set the stage for what this report is. It's called the Real Estate Trend Indicator, as it says on the top of the sheet. And again, this kind of set the stage on this report. I pulled it this morning. Here's what I wanted to look at. I wanted residential real estate in Mecklenburg County from January 1 this year through at the time I pulled it. And what I love about this report is it gives us a lot of information. So it breaks, as you can see on the left side of your screen, it breaks this down by price point ranges. And it starts then telling you, for example, if you look at, let's look at 500 to 599. Sold listings year to date, that price point in 2-bedroom homes, there were 76 closed unit, 3-bedroom homes, and that price point 446. 4+ bedrooms, 385. So in that price point, year to date, we have sold 907 homes in the 500 to 599 range. Now, again, I pulled this as residential. I did not break it down into single family townhomes, condos, anything else. I just wanted residential. Okay.
Who knows our average sale price here in where we are in the Charlotte Mecklenburg area? Anybody know?
Are you asking?
Come on,
like
yeah,
balance
yes.
higher for the market center?
For the market center.
Okay.
400?
450.
Yeah. Fatima, did you say 400?
Yeah, that's a guess. 400?
Yeah, it's actually a little higher than that. I think last month we came in right about 467. So go ahead.
Yeah, so this is just because by the way, and for the market center's perspective, we're not, we sell everywhere, right?
Mhm.
We just don't sell in Mecklenburg County. I just wanted to pull this as a county specific report for the purposes of what we're talking about today.
Mhm.
So if you can scroll down a little bit, Robin, because what I'd like to do, I'd like to kind of look at some totals. Remember, this stuff is now year to date, let's just say it that way. So what this tells us, year to date, we have sold in Mecklenburg County over 6,500 units with an average price of just under 615,000, worth over $4 billion in volume. That's a lot of volume, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge amount of volume. All right, so now that's that column. If we go just to the right of that, the 3619, that's how many active units we have available right now that have not gone under contract, worth an average price of 715,000, worth about $2.6 billion in volume. Well, already, what do you see in those, just the correlation between the 6,500 and the 3619 and the average price? What are your takeaways already on this?
The average price is up about $100,000.
Interesting. Okay, well, we'll keep going. So to the right of that number, I've got mine.
Okay.
So that 3619 is the active. The next column over, the 2247, that's how many properties we currently have pending. So the pending price, so in other words, the properties that are under contract, the average price on those units are 632,000. What does that look like in relation to the 615, the 614,880? We're a little bit closer, right? In terms of the price, at least that they're under contract. So if I look at the comparison between the sold and the pending, and I look at the comparison between the active and the pending, okay, we got some big gaps in there. Let's keep going. The next column over, 397 units so far this year in Mecklenburg County have expired with an average price of 593,977. And then
Can
finally.
we take can we pause right there just for
Sure.
a second? Because I
Absolutely.
think that 397 that expired, if we come up here and we look at when that number starts to increase a lot, I mean, we're seeing that $300,000 range. So we're seeing expireds here, and then if we just come down,
Mhm.
that's where the big numbers of expireds happen. So what do you think might be happening once the price point rises?
It's a great question.
Overpricing.
Yeah, who said that?
It's overpriced.
Overpriced, yeah. We may be overpricing them, right?
Well, even, okay, so let's do this. Look at the 400 to 499 category. 39 units there expired, right? And you said that's our average price for the market center.
Right.
So year to date, and our average price has been 39 units that have expired.
And then look what happens in the 500 to 600 range. That's the biggest area right there of expireds. So Dale, I think you hit it. Probably a lot of overpricing happening, so that expectation isn't being set at the very beginning of the conversation, right, with the sellers. And so maybe agents that haven't had experience with price reductions are also not having that conversation with the seller up front to set the expectation, therefore it just ends up expiring. Could that be a possibility?
It's our opportunity to educate the consumer about how the market's performing so that we can get it priced accurately. So we don't see these expireds, because to me, we
Right.
work hard to get the listing. Please don't take it overpriced and let it expire, or at least, set the stage so you can get your future price reductions as needed.
Yeah, good stuff.
All right, now this final column, this to me is a big aha over here. 983 represents the currently, or the temporarily off market properties. Why okay, for you guys on the call who work with sellers frequently, what are some of the reasons that people temporarily take their home off the market?
Updates, repairs.
Okay, so they're getting feedback about updates and repairs needed. That could be in correlation to price asking, right? They're asking. Why else?
It's been under contract before, fell apart. They needed to do some things.
Yeah,
Hmm.
same thing, right? So now it could be just mechanical repairs, whatever, it could be anything, really, right? So again, we're talking about what they're asking for price versus what's showing up in maybe inspection reports, not just simply feedback. Why else?
Days on the market, sitting,
Days on the market, and what
Yeah.
drives days on market?
maybe
Right.
overpriced.
Price. So isn't it funny, all three of those scenarios, which are the key reasons why typically people will temporarily take their home off the market, they're all related to price. So is this something to keep an eye on in terms of what our potential future expireds could look like?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, and if you look again, the correlation between, it's the same thing when you look at that price point and off market versus expireds.
yep,
They're either taking it off the market or it's expiring.
we're just a little bit ahead at 640 on the temporarily off markets to the sold price of 615. We're pretty darn close to the pending price of 632. So it's just those things now that buyers might be expecting for what they're paying for the property. And it might not necessarily mean that the house is like completely, totally overpriced. But there is a different even shift in expectation with the buyer. I'm willing to pay $640, however. I would expect some things to look a little bit differently. Where I have an expectation that you're going, to make repairs or whatever it is, right? So again, all of those are opportunities to educate people on how the market's performing and what a shifting market looks like and feels like, including from buyer expectations.
Anyone experiencing this right now in the market? Have you had one expire, or have you had to take something off the market for whatever reason that you'd like to share with the group?
I have one that, it's not in the Charlotte market, it's in Zebulon. But it started off priced a little bit high because of the way they bought it. They overpaid for it. And so they were trying to get a little bit more than what they paid. And they waited too long. I asked them to, make price adjustments, and they really didn't have the urgency until now. Now they're getting ready to move into their new place, and now they're doing these big price adjustments. But we've been on the market so long, people are looking at it like, what's wrong with it? And I warned them about that, and they didn't really listen to me, and now we're in a pickle.
Yeah, Joe, expired because they wouldn't negotiate the repairs. Yep. So sometimes, a lot of times it's going to be price, but it is still about expectation. So in this case, too, we have to do a better job, I feel, of educating both sides, buyer and seller, around expectations, what to expect in the market you're about to enter. This is a great tool, guys. I'm a fan of like one-page stuff to keep things simple, but gives us that opportunity to really let numbers or information tell the story, again, without us simply just telling, right? This is pulled directly from the MLS. Everybody looks at this, and it's real information about how the market is really performing. Now, here's what else I love about this. At the bottom, it takes those sold units, and it breaks everything down into days on market. So out of the 6,508 units we closed, might as well say almost 4,000 or 2/3 of them were on the market 0 to 30 days. Anybody surprised about that number?
No.
Right, because when you get the price right, you should have your offer and be under contract within 30 days. So there you go. I mean, there's the evidence again of it. Now, imagine if you were the agent, not just simply the seller, on any of these that have been on the market over a year. Would you want to be messing around with a seller for a whole year on a property? Listening to them every week or every month or however frequent you're talking to them, kind of complaining about things, that would drive me batty. I'll be honest with you guys. But I can tell you, one of the things I did years ago when we were in a heavy buyer's market and I was still a strong list agent, I didn't take my listings for more than 60 days. Everybody's like, oh my God, it takes forever to sell them. I'm like, I don't want to talk to the seller that long. I want to get it right, get them in the market, position them correctly so we can get under contract and get out of the market. So my listing agreements were actually shorter back then. I shortened the time. All right, so 31 to 60 days, 960 units. You might as well say almost 1,000. So now we got 5,000 of the 6,500 units basically have been on the market less than 60 days. If you use this and set the expectation in a listing appointment with a potential seller about how the market's performing and how quickly they should be able to get their offer, there's the evidence of it.
77%.
77%.
Yeah.
3 out of 4. 3 out of 4 properties will successfully have their offer inside of 60 days when priced correctly. All right, and then finally to the right, financing. Here's what I love about this one too. It breaks down every unit up there of how it was paid for. So you've got assumptions, you've got cash, you've got construction perm loans, obviously conventional, the 2 FHA categories, NC bond, non-conforming, other owner financing, trade exchange, and VA. To be honest, with all of those choices, I'm not sure what other is. Dale, I don't know, maybe you could shed some light on perhaps what other it is, but. it breaks
That could be
it
different
down.
programs. That could be a lot of different things.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yeah. Just weird that there's that many units.
Hey, hey, Chip, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
I'll go back to Angela. She was the one that had the guts to say something, because I know everybody's up against it, but Angela, other than that, you said them trying to make the money back because they overpaid. What is their pushback? Because I hear it all the time. I've heard it over the weekend in an open house. So, but what's been your pushback? Them just wanting to make more money?
Well, yeah, it was the net, but as far as pushback from buyers, the other thing that I'm hearing is they have pets, and so some people have complained about an odor, and you know that we all have heard the saying that if it smells, it don't sell. So I have made them aware, like, hey, if you guys move out and get all this professionally cleaned, we might have a better chance of moving it. But yeah, as far as their motivation, that the net is what's important to them, and I think, you know, it's just I didn't want to tell them, like, hey, you know, the relationship is different because they're family. So I kind of told them, like, hey, you know, your net is going to decrease as days on market increase. So I told them that up front, and they just kind of, you know, they're doing their thing. So
Okay, I was just curious. I've heard of all. It's people in these last 7 to 8 months of think their houses are still worth what they're back in the 20 and 21.
yeah.
This is our opportunity to educate the market, right? That's why we're taking this time every Monday morning to do this, so that you guys can have your own perspective on it. You have the tools and resources to go out then and have the conversations you need to have. And you're right, Dale, you know, how many people are sitting there going, well, you know, I know maybe you're kind of telling me I overpaid in the market, but I need to get that money back. Oh, and by the way, I need to cover the costs also. And it'd be nice if I had a little bit of extra in there to handle my move. And that's how a lot of times sellers will go into this, right? This is how they're going to determine the price that they want, because they're like, this is what I need. Well, here's the thing about a shifting market. One side typically doesn't care about what the other side needs. And in this case, let's go back 3-4 years ago. Did sellers care about buyers' needs? No. Well, guess what happens in a buyer's market? Buyers don't care about sellers' needs. And that may sound like a harsh reality, but it's just reality. That's all it is.
Well, you and I were talking earlier too, so it's almost 85% of the transactions were done either conventional or cash. So, but then we stopped on the assumption, you know, we've heard a lot of people saying, well, gosh, you know, there's interest rates are at 2%, 3%, some of these loans could be assumed. Yes, and
But the amount of equity.
there's a lot of equity there that you'd have to bring to get that 2.5%, that 3% interest.
To basically buy a payment.
Right, to buy a payment.
That's what you're really doing.
Yeah.
Sure, it's about locking in that interest rate for the remainder of the loan, but you're really buying that payment that sounds really attractive to you.
And most of the time it's cheaper to buy the rate down.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, Carla, and that's a great point.
Yep.
One other thing I was going to say too is that we should all be reading the shift book right now.
We should all be what?
Reading the shift book right now.
Oh, the shift. Yes.
Yep.
Here it is.
I don't know if you guys can see the screen still, but yeah. Tactic 4 and shift. Find the motivated. Guys, this is your business has an owner's manual. This is part of it. This is the tactical guide to your business. Know it. All the tactics, all 12. Find the motivated to me is like the important one right now, because when a market shifts, you think you found motivated people, unless they, you know, are really stuck on the price they want. How motivated are they? Motivation then typically will fall into the timeline. So that's what Angela's experiencing now, right? Now you've got people that are a little bit more motivated because now the timeline is up against them. So now they're willing to act on something. So here's the thing about a shifting market. This is our opportunity to shift our skill to a higher level. And if we understood that motivation on the front end and we kept bringing it back into the pricing conversation about timing, there's a couple of really cool things I can show you on that. It's amazing sometimes the difference you'll see and where that starting price will look like on that listing.
Yeah, again, I think before you go into that listing, studying the market at a high level. It used to be that we could run a quick CMA, run in there, be half knowledgeable about what's happened in the last 30 to 60 days because we just signed the listing, it's under contract. And now I think going in and really studying, know how to do a CMA at a high level. I'm sure we have a class on the schedule.
Jim Stratton typically teaches that here.
Yes.
I don't know
Jim, get back from Florida, will you?
I don't know when he has one coming up next, but yeah, and Jim does a really good job of teaching the CMA process, and there's even a way inside that CMA sheet that you can start putting in like the comps you use. I've taken it as far as like showing the price reductions those comps had to make.
Absolutely.
And then once they got their price correct on the price reduction, how long did it take for them to go under contract?
Right.
Guess what shows up, guys? It's always 0 to 30.
Yeah, and it's not.
It's always inside of 30.
It's not a 6-month CMA either. It's oh, Jim's back! Yay!
Live in the studio.
Jim's back. Charlotte just popped her head in. I thought she was still in Florida. So, okay, so last nuggets.
So, about this report, here's what I want to give you. Again, I gave you kind of the parameters, residential, year-to-date, Mecklenburg County. Guys, you can go in and pull this report for any period of time you want. You can break it down by neighborhood location, zip codes. Literally, you can do anything with it. So imagine if you're out having conversations, think about your pipeline of potential clients, and you pulled up the area, the thing, whatever they're looking for, and you started to send them things like this. This is about value. This is a great value tool that you can use. It literally takes you less than a minute to pull this.
Angela's asking, is that from Sam?
No, this is straight. You go into, when you're in Matrix, you go over to the right, top right header under More, M-O-R-E, click down, and I think then it says Market Reports. There's about 4 or 5 market reports in there you can pull. And it pulls it down, creates the PDF. Now you've got something you can use.
All right, we've got 3 minutes. What are your ahas from today?
Robin, I have a question you were going to say before you cut yourself off on what was the time frame on the the CMAs outside of 6 months? Was it longer?
Within the last 30 to 60 days. Don't go
Oh.
beyond that because it's shifting so fast right now.
It'll skew the results.
It'll skew, yeah.
Oh, okay.
You want us to try to keep things as current as possible. So when market shifts, the appraisers even tighten things up. They'll go like 60 to 90 days back. And that's about as far as they'll go.
And also pull your pendings.
Yeah, pendings, look at this. Pendings gave us an idea, didn't it?
Absolutely.
The average price of the pendings versus the average price compared to the solds, compared to the actives, compared to the expireds.
Mhm.
Kind of gives you an indication of what the market might be doing as well. Final thoughts, questions, comments?
Don't be afraid to have an appraiser in your pocket. I've had a
Maria,
couple
I
of
love that.
I've had a couple of listings where, for whatever reason, they don't believe my CMA, and I will throw it out there in a minute. Let's get an appraisal, and they'll agree to it, and we'll get an appraisal, and I'm right on the money, and now we're priced appropriately. And actually, I get better luck in getting them to price under the appraised value because I'm like, that's still today's number, right? If you go under contract, your appraisal isn't for another 15, 20 days, and this number could change. So I've been having some luck with that.
Love that.
Miranda, that's amazing. I have an agent that I know that does a certified pre-owned program. Every single listing she takes, she has it appraised, she puts a warranty on it, and she has it inspected. And
Love that.
she literally advertises certified pre-owned. we don't buy a home without it being appraised, a warranty, and inspected, or we don't buy a car without those three things. Why do we buy a house without those three things? So think about that. If you want to separate yourself from anyone else going in and taking a listing, what would it look like if you told the seller that, listen, we're gonna have it appraised, so there is no question about what the value is. We're gonna put a warranty on it, so if anything goes bad during this period of time, you're protected and the buyer's gonna be protected. We're gonna have it inspected, so there are no surprises during due diligence. We're gonna fix the things that need to be fixed before we put it on the market, and everybody's gonna know it. So we're gonna have a certified pre-owned home. I mean, what would that look like if you went about your business that way?
Could
I
that be,
love that.
Oh, it could be a huge mofer.
put that out there, would you like to have a certified, would you like to be a certified seller? Pre-owned seller, whatever, right?
Yeah,
And put that out there, let's position you for the market so that you get the best qualified buyers.
and doesn't that take the scary away from the buyer?
Absolutely.
I mean, there's nothing to be scared about during that due diligence period if that person has all of those things up front.
Yeah, love it.
You're welcome, Michelle.
All right, gang. We appreciate you guys being on.
Yeah, have a wonderful week. Go get them, guys.
Talk to everybody soon. Bye.